on Sportlink, we have an exclusive interview with the former captain of the Scorpions. That's coming up on this week's Summer Legend.
We'll also update you on the 2017 AFCON draw, bring you some action from the Interbank football tournament, and look back at Real de Banjo's exploits on the African Safari.
We also preview upcoming sporting activities and events in the Gambia.
And stay tuned as a panelist on Viewpoint tackle the topical sporting issues and highlights. This week's Summer Legend is the vibrant and charismatic former captain of the Gambia senior national team. Sang Dong's love for football is as insatiable as it is enthusiastic. This week, he granted Sportlink an exclusive one-on-one interview. Our reporter, Sira Chor, was on ground. Stay tuned for this brief but rare insight into the life and times of Sang Dong.
Okay, Mr. Ndong, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First, we would like to know, how did it all begin?
Well, I think my name goes with football. You know, since day one, since I was a kid I started playing football in school. Finished school, played in the second division in our national league, then played in the fourth division, then played for the national team, then coached the national team, and my last appointment with football officially was as the technical director of the Gambia Football Association. After that job in 2003, I came back to where I started because Hawks is one of the teams that did a lot for me. So that's why I just came back and started restructuring Hawks.
You've said Hawks have done a lot for you.
Yeah.
Is it that which motivated you? Is it that doing a lot that Hawks did that motivated you, or is it something else that motivated you to come back and at least reward for what they've done?
Yeah. I grew up in the team, and I just love the team philosophy, which is the team invests in youth. And all the time, if you can see right behind us, we've got a lot of kids, students playing in the team, whereas the team will help with their education in terms of moral and financial support, which they've done for me. And it was through Hawks and the Gambia YMCA that I got a scholarship and did my first degree in physical education from Brazil. Then I came back home, and they also sponsored my trip to obtain my UEFA A license in the UK in 1992 or so.
Wow, that's quite brilliant. Okay, how did Hawks get to know who Sang Dong is at the first place?
Yeah, because like I said, I started playing in school football, and I was at the St. Augustine's Junior Secondary School by then. Then the Augustinians Football Club was something like missionary team, like a Catholic team, and I'm still a Catholic, not was, but I'm still a Catholic. And coming from St. Augustine's, I opted to play for the Augustinians Football Club. That was in the second division, where I played for 1 or 2 years. Then I joined the Hawks Football Club later.
Wow, that's quite brilliant. Okay, we understand that whatever one does, there are constraints involved. What would you say are your high moments and low moments in your career?
Well, my lowest moments were the time I found myself in Brazil and never had anybody speaking Portuguese, and I had to learn how to speak Portuguese, staying away from home for the first time, and spent about 4 years in Brazil, had to learn the language, and had to sit to an examination to enter into college, which was about English language was the second language, which was the least important, and the most important thing was Portuguese and the geography of Brazil, the history of Brazil, and which I did with a lot of students and managed to obtain a vacancy in the college where I studied for 4 years.
Wow, that's quite brilliant.
So the highs is,
okay.
I think the highs is the first time I got myself into the senior national team as a young or junior player. I was promoted. The first time I played for the Gambia was, I think, sometime around 1980 at Boxbar Stadium, where this mosque is right behind us, where used to be our stadium.
Okay.
And that was in 1988. And my first game I played against Sierra Leone, and we won that game. And I was the goalkeeper, and we won by penalties.
So that's your highest.
Yeah, that's the highest one in football.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Okay, about your personal life. I know you're a serial though, but you cannot speak the language.
No.
Could you tell us about your personal life?
Yeah, well, I am a serial, that I know. And I think I've got 4 kids. I've got 2 girls and 2 boys.
Brilliant.
and working for Hawks, and what else? And well, I think I'm living happily.
You forgot the food aspect.
Yeah, food. Well, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan when it comes to food. You know, I'm fine. I can go on with anything that comes up. You know, with food, I'm just okay with it. Okay.
Anyway, thank you very, very much for you coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
This week's main story is on Real de Banjul's match against the reigning African champions ES Setif in Algeria. Real de Banjul bow out of the 2015 CAF Champions League qualifiers after a 2-0 loss to African champions ES Setif on Friday evening. The match, played at the Stade 8 May 1945, saw the hosts come close on goal as early as in the 3rd minute through talisman Abdel Malik Ziaya, but goalkeeper and captain Alhaji Nyabali fingertip his shot to safety. Both teams enjoying a fair share of possession. Later on, it was Setif who made good use of their chances after opening the scoring in the 20th minute. Tufik Zarara cross-come shot deflected past Nyabali and headed the African champions the advantage heading into the break. The Black Eagles extended their lead 2 minutes after the break through Faril Molawi, who capitalized on a defensive error to note past Nyabali on goal. The real game closed to getting one back through Yankuba Jaju, who dribbled his way into the Setif box only to be brought down as the referee waved on. The defeat is the first to be suffered this season by Brio, who put up a brilliant performance against the African champions. In his post-match interview, head coach Alhaji Ahmad Cham congratulated ES Setif and headed back to the Gambia to plan and prepare for next year's qualifiers.
The hotly contested Interbank tournament is currently underway in Manja. Right now, in its 3rd week, there have been several exciting matches and interesting results. The annual tournament exhibits the skills of footballers who traded their boots for the suit and tie. And though it is of a hotly contested nature, it unites the banks more than anything else. Our reporter, Siracho, was on ground for one of the matches.
With me here, you have Yaya Cham, a representative of the Interbank Committee. Firstly, you will tell us what the Interbank Committee is all about. Yaya, could you kindly tell us what the Interbank Committee is?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. As you rightly said, my name is Yaya Cham. I am the chairman of the Interbank Football Committee. In other words, Famarajata's trophy. This Interbank Football Committee, has so many objectives. One most important is to ensure, solidarity in the banking system and making sure that there is solid relationship between players in the banking sector, and improving, in terms of ideas and transferring knowledge, from one bank to another, from one individual to another, among other objectives. Yes, thank you.
That's beautiful. So when is the final going to be played?
The final is likely to be played on the 26th of this month at Serakunda East Mini Stadium.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
That's all what we have for you on this edition of Sportlink. Until then, bye-bye.
So for the results from week 3 of the Interbank tournament, Zenith Bank taking on defending champions Trust Bank. How did that end up?
It was fantastic. As a matter of fact, Trust Bank were the defending champions, but Zenith Bank came vigorously and wiped them off. Interesting, isn't it?
Well, it happens in football. Access Bank taking on Ajib Bank, and that ended 1-0 in favor of the Access Warriors.
Standard Chartered took over.
And they played out a fantastic 5-goal thriller with FIB that ended 3-2 in favor of Standard Chartered Bank.
And then Basic Bank went on nil with Ecobank.
Precisely.
Those are the results for the 3rd week of the Interbank tournament.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Viewpoint. I do hope you're having a great time with us on SportsLink today. My name is David Abraham, and with me in the studio I have on my left Uthman, the Vice President of the Sports Journalists Association with over 25 years in sports journalism, and Sira, a TV presenter and sports journalist. Today, guys, the first point of discussion is the standoff between Morocco and CAF. Now, as you know, Morocco withdrew from hosting the 2015 African Cup of Nations due to concerns over Ebola. This led to a tense standoff between Morocco and CAF, which ended up with CAF suspending Morocco for 2 successive African Cup of Nations tournaments, and a fine of $1 million and a further claim of $8 million in damages by CAF against Morocco. However, Morocco have appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sports, and the ban and the fine have been overturned. However, the Court of Arbitration for Sports claims they do not have jurisdiction to overturn the claim for damages. So, Uthman, what's going on here really? Why do you think the Court of Arbitration would say they don't have jurisdiction in this case? And do you think CAF was too hasty in punishing Morocco the way they did?
All right, thank you very much. Like you rightly mentioned, CAS, they don't have the jurisdiction to lift the $8 million damage claim that CAF levied against Morocco. The jurisdiction that CAS has is to look into the appeal that Morocco filed in against CAF. That's the $1 million fine and the 2 successive tournaments
Yes.
suspension.
Ban suspension,
you understand?
yes.
Okay, that's CAS's jurisdiction. They
Okay.
cannot go beyond that. Like I said, in sports, there are limitations to whatever one can do at at a given time. You understand?
Okay.
So CAS, their limit here is to look into the appeal that Morocco filed against CAF because of the $1 million and the 2 successive
Tournament suspension.
suspensions.
Okay, but do you think CAF was right to suspend and ban and fine Morocco in the first place? Sarah, I'm going to ask you to come in on this right now. What do you think? Do you think they were right to?
Yeah, I would say they're right, because you look at what Morocco did. This was at the last minute, yeah? You've known that the Ebola was going on for quite a long while, yeah? You should, since the decision was made, you could have said, no, I'm not gonna, no, we're not gonna be part of it. But you can say yes, and then after all investment has been done, you wait until the last minute, then you withdraw. That's unacceptable. It is unacceptable.
Withdrawing is one thing,
Come-
but
no.
the decision of CAF to fine $1 million and to suspend them for 2 consecutive tournaments. You understand?
So what do you think? What do you think? What should have been done?
You
No,
know,
it was not.
Well, guys, at the end of the day, there is some sort of compromise here, because CAF has actually, the Court of Arbitration for Sport has actually maintained the $50,000 fine. So that's a reasonable compromise.
That just goes to show what I
All
was
right.
saying.
Not hasty. They're just pardoning them.
Okay, guys, I'm going to have to move on to the next
That's the
issue.
truth.
We're out of time for that particular topic. The next issue is the suspension and the ban, the fine levied on Tunisia for their outburst against what they consider to be a conspiracy against them by CAF. CAF has since demanded an apology and banned Tunisia. Tunisia has apologized, and that ban has been overturned. However, the fine still stands at $50,000. What do you think is going on here as well with this case, which is a little bit similar to the first one?
Here, Tunisia were given an opportunity in the first place. That is when they said they
had to apologize.
They were given an ultimatum to apologize, or else CAF would act on the allegations that they levied against them. They decided not to agree to the apology, but later decided to apologize after when they were fined and banned. You understand?
Okay.
But here the inconsistency here is with CAF. You understand? CAF, as a recognized and respectable organization, should not make hasty decisions.
Sure.
You understand? We should
Osman, I have to cut you
mature.
off right there.
We should mature from
Sarah, you have something to say? What do you want to say?
Probably they've seen some faults in CAF. Yeah, fine. The fact that it happened on that instant and they didn't apologize, they've seen something. Probably they were mad. You know, at times you're mad and you do things you don't want. You're like, there's really corruption going on there.
So do you think CAF was right to overturn this suspension?
The inconsistency here is my problem with CAF.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to leave it on that note. And on to the next topic, some international news. Good news for the Real Madrid fans. Real Madrid thrashed Granada 9-1 yesterday with Cristiano Ronaldo scoring 5 goals. So what does this say, or what does this add to the Cristiano versus Messi debate? Let's start with Uthman.
Right, okay, thank you very much. This just goes to show that FIFA we are very right in nominating Cristiano Ronaldo as the world best player. You understand? Because you can't just measure Cristiano Ronaldo to Messi.
Well, because he scored that day 5 goals doesn't mean that you can measure him to Messi.
Messi has scored 5 goals in a match before, hasn't he?
No. He's in a game.
It's about Cristiano
Messi,
Ronaldo
one
is
thing
more
is-
a complete player than Messi. You understand?
How do you mean a complete? How can he be
That's
more
actually a
complete?
good question.
Exactly.
How is
Come
that
on,
more
how?
complete? I'd like to know too.
Cristiano is very good with running and shooting with the ball, which Messi does not have.
No, Messi can
think
straight.
Messi-
Chris can shot from a long distance. Messi would go straight and bypass the goaler and enter.
That's
Come on.
the difference.
No.
That's the difference.
This is to show you that he's
Well, guys,
confident in what he does.
I'm going to have to cut you
You know?
off right there. Pretty interesting argument. I don't think we could ever conclude who's the better player between Ronaldo and Messi. Both great players. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Sports Link. That's all we have for you on this episode. But make sure you stay tuned for the next episode when we bring you much more interesting sports news and action. See you then. So that's it from us here at Sportlink today, but make sure you stay tuned to catch all the breaking news from the final round of group games in the Interbank tournament.
Also, do not forget the 6th edition of the Sport Journalists Association Award, which would be hosted on Friday, the 10th of April. Until then, bye-bye.